Everybody, I've had some requests to get some help on the graphing business for average speed, constant speed, all that goodness. So I have a few different problems here that might just help you out. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to work out the average speed with you first, and then we are going to graph it. Okay? And you might actually find it easier to graph the raw data before working it out into the formula too. We'll take a look at that. But for right now, our focus is on average speed and the relationship between distance, time, and where it goes on a chart. So I'm going to take a look at this first one right here where it says time is 0 seconds, 0 miles. Let's pull up the Aversphere app. Thank you, Aversphere, for your wonderful, brilliant help throughout my entire teaching career. Don't know where I would be without you. Let's go ahead and make that. Oh, no, that just made it invisible. Let's turn that camera back on. All right, there we go. And full screen. There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm going to go ahead and just draw a super handy graph like this. Little chart action. Now, if you notice, my friends who have been in class this entire time, this is only quadrant number 1 up here. Quadrant 2 is going to be over here, 3 is going to be over here, 4 is down here. We're not using those for right now, so please don't worry about that. Don't freak out about that. This just makes it scary. If that's making it scary for you, I don't want to scare you. Okay? Now, because I'm making this graph myself, I'm going to just go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Solid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. Now, I'm going to switch back over here to my graphing page. My first point is 0, 0. So that's actually pretty easily written. So I can just go 0, 0. That's this point right here. Because I know that's 0. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on like that. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on like that. Okay, so that's 0 miles and 0 seconds, and that's point A. So I just mark that with a little A and a dot like that. Now I'm looking at my next one. I've got 2 seconds, and I've got 16 miles. Well, whoa, wait a second, I don't have 16 dots up here. I've got 10 dots. Let's see if maybe I can mark those into 5s. That might make that work a little bit easier for me. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Yeah. So I'm just changing the increments that is broken up into 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. All right, not a big deal there. Not a big deal at all. I did forget to say y is our distance side and x is our time side. So if that's something that would help you, I apologize for not putting that sooner. Let's take a look at that distance. There is 16 miles. So that's in 2 seconds. So I'm going to go over 1, 2 on the x. Because remember, I'm looking at my time first. And then I have to count up to where 16 would be. So there's 5, 10, 15. Well, is 16 going to be just above 15? It sure is. So that is point B right there. This might be something that is useful for you. Maybe if I do this. I will incorporate some lines going acrossways. So let's have a line going straight up like that. And all I'm doing is just using the resources that I have to build the things that I need. I've got a ruler, I've got paper, I know I need a graph, so I'm making my own graph paper. Is this very difficult? Is this very hard? Not at all. You, my wonderful students of science, if you are missing graph paper, do not fear, do not fret, because you too can make graph paper just like your old pal, Mr. Sawchuk. It's not very difficult, not very complicated. It's just a bunch of lines that run into each other. This is actually the funnest part, most fun for making the graphs, is getting to make the graph paper. So if you look on this part where it says 15 and 2, it's 16 and 2, because that's what my B point is. Okay? Let's go over here to 4 seconds. Now at 4 seconds, I'm going 24 miles. So let's count up to where 20 is at. 20 is right here. 24 would be just under 25. Okay, that's my C part. Cool. Let's take a look at what 5 is. 5 is 28. So I've got 5 seconds here. Go up to where 28 should be. That's just underneath 30. Easy. Mark that with the letter D. 6 seconds is going to be 32 miles. So 6 seconds at 32 miles. Right there, that's part E. Bloop, bloop. 7 seconds. Ooh, this is a tricky one, y'all. It says 7.5. So I know that that's going to be halfway between 7 and 8. And I'm going to go all the way up to where 38 seconds is at. So it's going to be just above 35 and just below 40. Looks like I'm missing a line. Let's freehand this bad boy. Cool. And that is point F. Finally, point G is going to be 8 seconds and 40 seconds. Okay. So each of these points along this graph are simply the time or distance based on the activity. Now, to find out what my average speed or my constant speed. So to find out what my average speed is, all that I would have to do is divide all of these together. I'm sorry. Add it all together and then divide them each one by the number that we added it by. That sounds like a bunch of crazy work, but it's kind of easy. But this is really just for graphing. So we've got our instant speed jump. Okay, and then mark our points. That might be easier if I do it in a different color. How about black? It's always a good color. The House of Altruismo. Like those guys, they're okay in my book. And that is how you graph points from our average speed problems. The biggest difference here between what we did in class is I just didn't have these other pieces of the graph filled in. But I could also just as easily take average speed of v equals 20 miles per second, and I just graph it that way. So this is seconds here, right? Seconds. This is miles up here. So I go over 1 second, I go up 20 miles. Graph it. Okay, so then I go over another second, I go up another 20 miles. Graph it. Over another second, up another 20 miles. Graph it. and then I should be able to draw this nice little line straight through. Let's say we've got something that's only going 5 miles per second. Okay, that's pretty easy stuff. So I go 1 second, go up 5 miles. Go over another second, go up 5 miles. Go up another 5 miles in 1 second, 5 miles in 1 second, 5 miles in 1 second, and then I can draw that line. Okay? The activity we're going to be doing on Monday and Tuesday is going to involve a super helpful computer program that's going to help graph these with you. So you should have a little bit easier time then.